What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Defenders, Season 1, Episode 4, Royal Dragon. So, as much as I did really enjoy this episode, the one problem I do have to bring up with this is, once again, going back to the fact that this season is only 8 episodes instead of their usual 13. The reason I do have a problem with this, and why it affects this episode in general, is because it feels like this episode could have been stretched a little bit longer. It feels like what just happened in this episode, the general premise of it, could have been stretched out over 2 or 3, maybe. And it could have been really, really interesting if they decided to handle it that way, instead of doing it all in this episode. But basically, this is the episode where they finally all met, but they're not yet a team. And we saw this in the Avengers as well. We've seen this in pretty much any type of movie or TV show that has a team working together, and they're not similar. They're people that don't really get along. There's always that episode or that part of the movie where they don't want to be a team, even though they've all been brought together for some reason to fight some main bad guy that they all have in common, but they're not really a team. They're just people that have to fight together for whatever reason. Then they have to take some time off and say, okay, we're not a team, see you guys later, and then later on they come back and then they form the team. All that happens in this one episode, and while it works okay, just thinking back to all of the previous all the previous seasons of all these different characters that we've had on Netflix, they managed to pace their stories very well because they had plenty of time to work with it, and I just imagine them going off and doing their own thing after meeting. They're trying to handle it on their own and then realize they can't. And then they all decide, all right, let's come together, let's do this. Instead of just, they all come together in this restaurant and none of them really want to work together. Jessica Jones is like, I'm off, I'm going to work by myself. Luke Cage is like, I'm going to listen, but I'm not really that interested. Danny's the only one that's really like, yeah, I need some help. I've been doing this forever and not really succeeding, so some help would be great. And Matt's like, look, your lives will be in danger. He's still reeling off of just seeing Elektra alive again, so he doesn't really want to have anything to do with this. But it would have been so much better if they had this meeting in this restaurant and they talked about, this whole thing that's going on. Maybe Styx shows up and says, hey, you guys need to protect New York. But none of them buy it. Obviously, Danny would be the only one to really buy into it and be like, yes, I need help. But everybody just goes their separate ways. They're trying to do things on their own. Matt tries to go back to his regular life. Jessica continues on doing pretty much what she did in this episode, except maybe a little bit more expanded. Luke Cage is just like, look, I'm just here to protect the people of Harlem. I'm not here to fight some great battle. And so he goes back to trying to help people out in Harlem. But ultimately, all their paths lead back to they need to stop the hand, for whatever reason. In my mind, it's playing out so much grander if they had drawn this story out a little bit more, but it's a minor detail. It still works okay in this episode. It's just, in my opinion, I would have liked to have seen them draw it out a little bit more. I rarely say that about anything. I rarely say I want to see it drawn out longer. Most of the time I'm like, can we wrap this up a little bit? But anyway, let's talk about this episode. So they meet up in this restaurant. Some funny dialogue going on. You've got the owner of the place is like, what are you guys doing? Get out, get out. I'm going to call the police. And they're all just like, no, we're staying. Jessica picks up a table, puts it in front of the door. So some really funny lines, some really funny interactions between the four of them. Danny's like, I gave him my card and said, hey, I'll buy your month's rent for you and 6 months rent or something like that. And he buys 4 of everything on the menu. He's like, man, I'm starving. And the part I love about it is he is such a kid, and we know that a lot of people complain about that sometimes. One of the biggest complaints about Iron Fist is Danny Rand, and I'll admit sometimes his childish nature and the naivete which he goes into every situation with can get kind of frustrating. Like I said in the last one, he just waltzes into that room full of hand people and just like, yeah, I'm the Iron Fist, I'm going to take you out, and then nearly gets killed in the process. So sometimes it can get really annoying to see, but in moments like this where he's interacting with so many, he's interacting with 2 cynical people in Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, and he's interacting with a guy who has practically just been through hell and back, pretty much. And it's just so funny to see him be all goofy, like, oh yeah, I'm starving. I ordered 4 of everything on the menu. Let's go, guys. And they're all just like, dude, seriously? Like, we just survived a battle. Why are you doing this? Why? So, I don't know. It was really funny to see their reactions to it, and also kind of funny to see him have no reaction to their reactions. Like, they're all looking at him like he's an idiot, and he just doesn't care. But they start talking about what's going on. None of them are really buying into this. You know, even Matt, who knows all of this is true, is like, you need to keep your loved ones safe. If you get involved in this, you will not be able to get out of it. And then Stick walks in, gives them the full rundown of everything going on. Danny loves it because he's finally getting information. Jessica leaves. Luke, like I said, listens in because he wants to know what's going on, but he's not fully committed. And Matt the whole time is just like, I don't trust your lies, old man. You know, he's been through this thing before. He's lost Elektra in the process. He's still reeling from that. And so, yeah, it does make sense why he's not fully on board with this whole let's stop the hand thing. So they're going through all of that. We see Jessica going to talk to the family of the guy that she tried to track down and pretty much kind of give them an update, say, hey, this thing that we're dealing with, it's a lot bigger than I originally thought. You know, you're right about everything. And then all of a sudden, the woman's like, oh, I thought you already put a police detail here. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, that car. And she's like, did he show you a badge? And she's like, no. Do he has to see a badge, maybe? But yeah, so Jessica goes to talk to him, fights him a little bit, drops a really funny line about being the only one that doesn't know martial arts. And honestly, it does kind of make me wonder how she's going to hold up in a fight against the hand, because where Matt and Danny both know some sort of kung fu, Luke Cage is indestructible, so he doesn't really have anything to worry about. But she's just super strong. She's not indestructible. She can take a beating, but she's not really invincible. You know, if she gets stabbed through the stomach, she's gonna die. And the only thing she really has is super strength. She's not really that great of a fighter. So I wonder if she's kind of going to be the weak link out of everybody. She proves she can still handle her own for the most part, but she's definitely not the same fighting quality as everybody else. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if they touch on that at all, or if they just say, yeah, she can fight just like everybody else. She's good to go. But I don't know. Just a question I have that I hope gets answered at some point. But ultimately, she sees the guy, she fights him, she manages to take him down, and then cut back to the cafe that they're all hanging out at, and they're still talking about everything. Finally get to the topic of Alexandra and I guess the 5 fingers of the hand. Come to find out that apparently the people we've met, Alexandra, Madame Gao, the guy in the white hat, I can't remember his name now. I think it starts with an S. It's like Suadame or something like that. Bakudo from Iron Fist Season 1, and then this guy that we see Alexandra talking to, he's like gutting a bear that apparently he took down on his own. Murakima or something like that. So those are apparently the 5 fingers of the hand, and it sounds like Styx saying they've been alive for centuries. And even like Jessica Jones is looking on a computer at all the different, like I guess building leases or something. I don't know exactly what she's looking at, but they're all signed by the same person, you know, same handwriting over centuries. So I think it was probably Alexandra's signature. I'm not entirely sure. But so that's how she sort of realizes that everything they're saying really is true. But I'm guessing that's kind of going to be the thing for the rest of this season, is taking on those 5 fingers of the hand. I'm interested in seeing that. You know, all of them have proven to be pretty good battles to go up against. You know, Madame Gao already proved herself in Iron Fist Season 1. Bakudo, maybe they'll bring him back because we know they did take away his body after he was killed by Colleen. So, no, not by Colleen. What was it? Oh, yeah. Iron Fist's friend. I can't remember his name now. Crap. Davos. Yes. Remember it just in the nick of time. But yeah, Davos killed Bakudo in Iron Fist Season 1. But they lost the body. It disappeared. So maybe the hand brought him back to bring him back to life. So maybe he'll show up again in this season. Maybe there'll be some epic showdown between the 4 defenders and Stick versus the 5 fingers of the hand. So it's like one-on-one battles all over. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, they're setting up a very good villain base to go up against. Obviously, the Black Sky is going to be one of the big players in this as well. We do see Stick and Matt have a little bit of a conversation about Elektra, saying that she's no longer in there. Matt's like, no, she is. She hesitated whenever she, heard me call her name. So I am curious to see if Elektra is in there at all, or if this is just going to be, no, she's completely gone. This is something entirely different. But it ends with Alexandra's inside of the cafe now. She kind of mysteriously appears in there, which was a pretty cool scene. She starts talking to Danny and starts saying, hey, come with me and you'll be able to save this city. It basically sounds like if he goes with her, she won't destroy the city. I don't know exactly what her plan is. Like I said, they're kind of shrouding their whole plan in mystery, and how they're going to take over the city is a huge mystery. But then she's like, okay, well, if that's how it's going to be. And then in walks Elektra. She's getting ready to fight. And then just out of nowhere, a car comes through the front window and Jessica walks out from behind it after she threw it through the window. And then it all sets up, and they're the defenders with Stick up against Elektra. And that's how the episode ends. I'm like, you cock tease, you jerks. Set all that up for us, made us get all excited for the freaking epic battle that's about to happen. And then you cut it off and go to the credits, you jerks. But yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, this is pretty much the last 4 episodes. We are into the second half of the season now, unfortunately. But yeah, these last 4 episodes feel like it's setting up for this big epic battle between the Defenders and the Hand, and it's gonna be awesome. I feel it coming. It's gonna be great. I hope. So anyway, that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? What do you expect to happen next episode? Let me know what you think. All that good stuff. We can talk about it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Defenders reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.